Today, you and Vin agree to meet at his house. When you get there, he mysteriously tells you to close your eyes, saying he wants to take you somewhere. Full of doubt, you close your eyes, feeling his cold hand covering them. His other hand rests gently behind your waist, pushing you forward. Vin, where are you taking me?
곧 알게 될 거예요. 계단 조심해요.
After taking a few steps, you feel a different sensation under your feet as the warm sunlight shines on you. A gentle breath caresses your earlobes, along with a hint of laughter in his voice.
이제 눈 떠봐요.
Garden of Vin's residence. What comes into view is a vibrant garden filled with colorful flowers that you've never seen before. Dewdrops hang on the leaves and petals, becoming points of glistening amber in the sunlight. The flowers stretch out comfortably to embrace the sun, showcasing their vitality and beauty. You look up at Vin, whose smile reaches his eyes.
직접 가꾼 꽃인데 최근 며칠 사이에 이렇게 만개했더군요. 활짝 핀 모습이 정말 아름다워서 당신에게 보여주지 않고는 참을 수 없었어요.
So that's why Vin insisted on meeting me today. Does that mean I'm the first guest to see these flowers in bloom?
당신이 첫 번째는 맞지만 손님은 아니죠.
The corners of Vin's mouth raise slightly as he leads you over to the flowers he cultivated, telling you about them.
이건 선인장과인 비화옥이라고 해요. 개화 기간이 길어서 반년 정도 피어 있어요. 가꾸는데 쉽지 않았지만 이렇게 필 줄은 몰랐거든요. 좀 놀랐어요.
Since it belongs to the cacti family, it should look like a cactus when it blooms, right?
맞아요.
Vin points to a flower weaved with maroon and gold, its petal curled and folded at the edges, much like bird feathers.
이게 무슨 꽃인지 맞춰볼래요?
Its petals look like feathers. Could it have something to do with birds?
맞아요. 이건 비교적 희귀한 패럿 튤립이에요. 꽃잎의 모양과 색깔이 앵무새와 비슷해서 붙여진 이름이죠.
I see. No wonder I wasn't able to recognize it. It's vastly different from the tulips you normally see. Your eyes suddenly fall on the flowers growing together on the side. The reverse petals are pale blue in color, much like tiny lilies. Hyacinths, you've seen them before somewhere.
왜 그래요? 이건 히아신스라고 해요. 전에 송지원 씨가 팬에게 받을 때 본 색이 예뻐서 한번 심어봤어요.
As Vin mentions Jessie, memories begin to flood your mind. The smile on Jessie's face when she received the flowers from a fan, and the father who came to visit his daughter's idol. Yes, I remember the fan said blue hyacinths represent life, which really suits Jessie. I wonder how Jessie is doing. I hope she's feeling better.
적극적으로 치료를 받고 현재는 상당히 호전됐다고 해요. 기회가 되면 같이 만나러 가요.
Alright.
사랑하는 여자친구님, 송지원 씨도 괜찮다는 걸 알았으니 이제 다시 꽃에 집중해볼까요?
Vin has a smile on his lips. Although he said flowers, he is clearly talking about himself. Oh, of course, tell me about your flowers. I'm listening. After learning about the rest of the flowers, you and Vin sit together on a bench in the garden to take a break. Snuggling in his embrace, you recall the variety of flowers in his garden and start mumbling to yourself. It seems like there's not a single flowers you can't grow. Not only are you able to cultivate them, but you also help them bloom so magnificently. Instead of calling you Dr. Richter, I should be calling you Master Gardener Richter. When will I be able to grow such beautiful flowers? Upon hearing your sighs, Vin lowers his head to touch your forehead.
꽃을 키워보고 싶다면 제가 도와줄게요. 그리고 저도 당신과 함께 우리 둘만의 꽃을 심고 싶어요.
Really?
당연하죠. 당신에게 하는 말은 모두 진심이에요.
You snuggle tighter into Vin's embrace. You take his hand and slowly draw circles in his palm, revealing your thoughts. Let's start with the simplest. I'll learn basic cultivation techniques. Then we'll slowly increase the difficulty and maybe move on to grafting. I might be able to pick up a few things.
당신이 원한다면 뭐든 좋아요.
Then it's a deal. When I have time, I'll come over and plant flowers with you.
좋아요. 아, 당신 말을 듣고 좋은 생각이 떠올랐어요.
What is it?
어쩌면 새로운 품종의 장미를 기르게 될지도 몰라요. 성공적으로 키워내면 기념으로 품종명에 우리의 이름을 붙일 생각이에요.
Looking into Vin's sincere eyes, your heart is filled with sweet affection. These feelings rise up from the heart before growing into a playful tease. Vin, you're not like the other scientists who turn their hobbies into research projects out of habit, right? After cultivating a new breed of roses, are you going to name your discovery and publish a paper?
그럴 리가요. 전 우리만의 장미를 길러내고 싶었던 것뿐이에요.
Vin didn't expose your teasing, but emphasized the last part of what he said. Afterward, he seems to think of something, smiling to himself.
그나저나 취미마저 연구 주제가 됐다니 전에 알던 친구가 생각나네요.
Who is it?
에스턴이라고 학교에서 알게 된 친구예요. 우연히 서로 비슷한 점이 많다는 걸 알게 됐고 그렇게 친구가 됐어요. 기억하기론 그때 토론 주제가 보다 효율적으로 프로젝트에 적합한 연구 대상을 모집하는 방법이었죠. 그리고 제가 제안한 방법에 그 친구도 당신처럼 얘기했었어요.
How's he doing now?
지금은 상염색체 열성 다낭성 신장질환 분야에서 최고 권위자예요.
Autosomal recessive polycystic kidney disease? That's a mouthful.
아주 희귀한 질병으로 사망률도 높고 현재까진 더 나은 치료 방법도 없어요. 에스터는 줄곧 이 난제를 해결하고 싶어 했죠. 그리고 이젠 심리학이 환자에게 미치는 영향을 연구하고 있어요.
I see. Vin's explanation piques your interest and your desire to explore the topic increases even more. At this moment, Vin touches the tip of your nose lightly.
당신 표정 좀 봐요. 그렇게 궁금해요?
Knowing that Vin saw right through you, you nod. Yes, after being with you for so long, I find myself fascinated by medical knowledge.
그렇군요. 마침 다낭성 신장에 관해서 에스턴이 보내온 자료가 있어요. 한번 볼래요?
Sure, with you by my side explaining, I'm sure that I'll understand the information better.
그래요. 그럼 가서 자료를 가져올게요.
You are forced to leave Vince's embrace as he gets up. He stands up and turns to you again, casting a white shadow in front of you. You look up into his golden eyes that are filled with tenderness.
잠깐만 기다려주세요. 금방 올게요.
A kiss grazes your face, faint yet tender. Garden of Vince Rastons. Vin opens the video on hereditary polycystic kidney disease sent by Aston. While you're watching, he answers your questions from time to time. Before you get through much of the material, Vince's phone rings. He glances at his phone screen, then frowns slightly. What's wrong? Who is it? It is Ogier. You keep looking. Let me take this call. Alright. After Vin leaves the garden, you tap the screen to play the rest of the video. Then you realize there are several points you can't understand on your own. Without Vin here, I can't make heads or tails of the information. I can only wait for him to come back. After giving it a few seconds of thoughts, you decide to take a break and walk around in the garden. The vibrant flowers sway in the wind, stirring up several bursts of fragrance. They pulse in numerous ways, each with a colorful vigor, growing together in a tranquil environment to showcase their diverse beauty. Incredible! It's almost as if Vin had known what the flowers would look like when they bloomed before he planted them. Where you grew the flowers must also be important. Hey, from this angle, the flowers look good enough to be a background photo. You take out your phone and snap a few fantastic photos of the flowers. At that moment, a stylus newsfeed sends you a notification at the top of the screen. It reads, "Big news! World-renowned expert Professor Aston has signed a 5-year contract with the Stylus Research Institution." Aston, the same Aston that Vin knows. Curious, you tap on the news story. Professor Aston is a world-renowned expert on autosomal recessive polycystic kidney disease. After several invitations, the Stylus Research Institution has recently hired Professor Aston as a resident expert. Professor Aston will work with Stylus Public Hospital to conduct important research at the institute. Our reporters will follow up on this news report with live updates. What a coincidence! It's the same Aston that Vin was talking about. You sigh, thinking about how small the world is when you hear footsteps. You look up to find that Vin has returned to the garden after finishing his phone call. However, he seems to be upset, even showing a slight helplessness. Garden of Vince Rastons. What's wrong? Did Ogier Weschler upset our Dr. Richter? You blink a few times at Vin as he sighs helplessly. It was my father. He told Ogier to inform me that a relative is coming to visit and wanted to discuss something with me. They should be at the Field Psychology Center by now. That seems so sudden. It might be sudden, but thinking back, perhaps there might be a reason behind it. What's going on? According to a nurse, a woman visited the psychology center a few times over the past fortnight asking for me. She claims to be from the Hasbran family, but she never said what she wanted. I happened to be away on business, so Ernest declined on my behalf. When I returned to the psychology center, the woman never came back. That means the person who asked your father to contact you is probably the same woman who went to the psychology center. She might have contacted my father because she was unable to see me. I wonder what Vin thinks given that he avoids contact with his family. Vin, what's your plan? Are you going to meet up with her or not? I do not want to meet someone from the Hasran family. Vin takes your hand, running his fingers gently across the back of it. But Oje said in the phone call that the person looking for me is the Duchess of Bavaria. So I am somewhat hesitant. The Duchess of Bavaria? Seeing as she is a distant descendant of the Hasbran family, we are not close. I have not heard from her since she married the Duke of Bavaria. In that case, it might really be an emergency, since she contacted you out of the blue. Vin falls silent for a while, then he nods as if he's made a decision. I should meet her. In my childhood memories, the Duchess of Bavaria was a gentle person. I remember her making pastries for me, which is one of the few good memories I have of that time. And she even persuaded my father to contact me personally. I think it would be better for me to see her. I didn't know the two of you had that kind of history. After hearing your story, I feel like the Duchess is different from others. I'll come with you to see her. Alright?
Dr. Richter, Miss Huraira. Just as you and Vin enter the psychology center, the nurse at the front desk whips. It was the same nurse who helped you find the medicine box when Jessie had an accident the last time. Things got a little hectic afterwards, so you never get the chance to thank her properly. Hey, thank you for last time. No need to thank me, I was just doing my job. Then the nurse looked at Vin. Dr. Richter, your guests have arrived. They are waiting for you in your office. Alright. Vin's office. Walking into Vin's office, you notice a well-dressed woman holding hands with a little girl in front of the sofa. Her makeup, though elegant and delicate, cannot hide the exhaustion and worry in her eyes. This must be the Duchess of Bavaria that Vin was talking about. She seems momentarily startled when you and Vin enter the office but quickly regains her composure. Lord Wilhelm, no, I should call you Vin now. Long time no see. With that, the Duchess politely greets Vin and the little girl beside her follows suit. It has been a while, Duchess. Vin greets the Duchess, offering them a seat on the sofa after exchanging pleasantries. After sitting down, the Duchess glances at you, then Vin. And this is Shiraira, my girlfriend. Hello, Duchess. Hello. Ah, we have not seen each other in so long. It never crossed my mind that you are old enough to get married. The Duchess's eyes quivered lightly, and her words revealed a trace of indescribable emotion. Thank you, Duchess, for your concerns. We can discuss family matters at a later time. It seems you have been looking for me and even asked my father to contact me. Is there an urgent matter that you wish to discuss with me? The Duchess is taken aback by Vince's question, but then she looks at the little girl beside her. You and Vin glance over. The girl is pale and small. Her hands are clasped together as she looks at you and Vin uneasily. This is my daughter, Marnie. The Duchess pauses after introducing her daughter and look at you and Vin again. Seeing her hesitation, you and Vin exchange a look and nod at each other. Duchess, sure I can take Marnie for a walk if you do not mind. There is a central business district near the psychology center that Marnie might like. Yeah, it's Marnie's first time in Dallas, right? I can show her around. Don't worry, I'll take good care of Marnie. The Duchess falls silent for a while, then nods her head. Thank you. Marnie, will you be a good girl and play with her? The Duchess touches Marnie's face and gently asks for her opinion. Marnie looks at you, then gently tugs at the Duchess' clothes once more. Okay, Mommy, I will be good. Marnie calls the Duchess Mommy. It's a bit different from what I knew about nobles. It's probably because she's close with the Duchess. You walk down the streets of the central business district holding Marnie's hand. Her small hand is unusually cold. She looks at everything around her with wide eyes, curious about everything inside. Marnie, how old are you? I am 11 years old. But she looks like she's only 8 or 9. Is it because of her small stature or is it because she's sick? Thinking back to the Duchess' reaction, a hint of doubt and worry rises in your heart. Before you give it much thought, Marnie tugs at your clothes, pointing to the nearby milk tea shop. Miss, what is that? That's a milk tea shop. It sells many delicious drinks. Has Marnie never had milk tea before? Is it forbidden for nobles? Listening to your explanation, Marnie looks at the milk tea shop like she's in a trance. Seeing her reaction, an idea comes to mind. Marnie, can you drink milk tea? Do you want to try their milk tea? Their passion-fruit boba is famous here in Dallas. You point at the milk tea shop's signature menu and shake Marnie's hand. You see a gleam of hope in Marnie's eyes, which fades quickly. Thank you, miss, but Mommy said I am not well and should watch what I eat. Marnie isn't well. Sure, let's listen to your mother. Marnie nods, but she still looks upset. You crouch down and hook Marnie's pinky finger with your own. Even though you can't drink milk tea now, I promise to treat you to milk tea when you get better. Really? Of course, I'll never break my promise to you. Thank Thank you, miss. You and Marnie linked pinky fingers for a pinky promise, bringing an innocent smile to her face. Shortly after, a crowd of mostly children gathered in front of the milk tea shop. The noise from the bustling crowd is overwhelming, and Marnie grabs your arm nervously. Miss, I do not like it here. There are too many people. Alright, I'll take you somewhere else. Central Business District. You take Marnie somewhere quiet to sit down and rest. She lets out a long sigh of relief, visibly less nervous than before. You reach out to pat her head. Marnie, are you afraid of places with big crowds? I did not used to be, but now I am. Huh? Ever since I got sick, nobody likes me. They do not want to play with me. Afterward, Marnie looks down, not daring to look at you. Maybe she's afraid that you wouldn't like her if you knew she was sick. You take Marnie's hand and shake it lightly. They're wrong. You're so adorable. How could anyone not like you? See, I really like you, Marnie. Marnie looks up, a twinkle in her eyes. Thank you, miss. You are so nice. After I got sick, people started to dislike me. If only I was not sick, Mommy would also be happier. Your words seem to have struck a chord with Marnie, who swings her legs back and forth while confiding in you. The innocence that she should have been in her eyes is now replaced by deep sadness. The doctor said I have a very serious disease and treatment might take a long time. The doctor also said that even if I could be treated, it would take a lot of money and effort. After Daddy left, Mommy took me to so many doctors for treatments. We came to see Wilhelm because I am sick. Did your mother say how he can help? No, only that he must know what to do. But I do not want any more treatments. Marnie looks down again, visibly upset, so you rub her back for comfort. Why don't you want to get more treatments? Does it hurt? Marnie shakes her head, her tiny hand still holding onto yours. No, I am not scared of pain, but I am worried about Mommy. Mommy is still young. If I was not here, she would not be burdened by my illness. Marnie pauses for a moment. After a while, she looks around emotions for you to crush down. You crush down and Marnie leans over to whisper in your ear. Please, do you not wait for me to disappear? If I could just disappear, Mommy would be happier. And indescribable feelings fill your heart as you meet Marnie's innocent eyes. Before you sits a child, only 11 years old, asking in the most innocent way possible how to make herself disappear. You freeze, not knowing how to respond, as infinite sadness flows from the bottom of your heart. You take Marnie's tiny hand into your palm and look at her solemnly. Marnie, there's no way to just suddenly disappear from the world. And besides, your mother likes you, I like you, Wilhelm definitely likes you too. So many people like you and want you to stay by your side. If you disappear, we will be really sad. And we made a promise. I'll treat you to all the milk tea you want after you get well. If you disappear, who would I treat to milk tea? We pinky promise. Marnie paused before nodding. I understand. Then I will not disappear, not until I drink milk tea with you, miss. You are such a good girl, Marnie. You let out a deep sigh of relief as Marnie dismisses the idea of disappearing. Using this method to persuade Marnie isn't a long-term solution. I should learn more about this situation from Vin after we return. As you ponder how you're going to tell Vin about this, Marnie tugs your hand. Miss, when can we go back? I miss Mommy. Alright, let me see. You take out your phone to check the time. It's about time to head back. Okay. Oh no, what happened in there? As soon as you enter, you notice the nurse muttering to herself and looking very nervous. Nurse, what's wrong? Miss Herrera, it's great that you're back. When the nurse looks at you, it's almost as if she's looking at her savior. Dr. Richter came out just now with a terrible expression on his face. It's like there's a dark cloud hanging over him. None of us knows what happened inside. What happened between Vin and the Duchess? Don't worry, I'll check it out. Yeah, thank you. Vin's office. You lead Marnie and gently push open the door to Vin's office. A tense atmosphere unfolds before you. Vin and the Duchess of Bavaria are standing face to face. Upon entering, they gaze at you and Marnie, then at each other. Duchess, as I said before, I will not agree to your request. Vin. A sullen expression appears on the Duchess when she hears Vin's adamant answer. Her eyebrows furrow and her hands clutch her purse tightly as if trying to maintain her composure. Vin, have you no empathy for Marnie? How can you be so cold-hearted watching her live like this? The Duchess raises her voice without knowing, her voice filled with urgency. Duchess, I have my own reason for not agreeing. I must ask of you to calm down. Despite trying to calm the Duchess down, Vin's words seems to have the opposite effect. The Duchess' tone immediately becomes shrill and sharp. Calm down? How can you ask that of me when my own daughter's health is at risk? Vin, you stand there with perfect health. How can you understand how people like us feel? Hearing those words, Vin frowns and looks at the Duchess coldly. Vin's silent treatment infuriates the Duchess even more. Her tone sharpens as she narrows her eyes. Vin, no. Lord Wilhelm, you have stayed out of harm's way until now only because you have been lucky. Of course, you can stand idly by, but if something happened to you one day, how can you be sure you will not be in the same predicament? You might even be worse off because no one wants to help you. Think of your family. Do you really think you are any different from them? The accusation silenced Vin as his eyes sink.
He gently props himself up on the table beside him, his fingers tapping its surface. His tone remains cool as those golden eyes of his focus on the Duchess. Duchess, I hope you understand that I too have. Um. However, before Vin can finish his sentence, you feel something in your hand go soft. You act instinctively and catch Marnie as she collapses backward. Marnie's face is pale, her eyes closed. She seemed to have fainted out of shock. Marnie! The Duchess shouts in panic, rushing over to snatch Marnie from your arms. She taps Marnie's face softly, calling her name over and over again to no avail. Marnie, Marnie, do not scare me. Someone help, please! After the chaos subsides, the Duchess leaves with Marnie in an ambulance. Nothing comes of her conversation with Vin. You and Vin are the only ones left in the office. Vin, will Marnie be okay? I believe she fainted out of shock. She just needs to rest. Do not worry, she will be fine. Vin caresses your face a few times with the back of his hand as if trying to comfort you. Yeah, I hope so. Nevertheless, you are reminded of Vin's terrible expression and doubt rises in your heart once more. What happened between you and the Duchess? Why did you suddenly... You choose your words carefully, worried that Vin might recall those unpleasant emotions. Let's talk about that at home later. Vin's living room. Back at Vin's house, the two of you are sitting on the couch. Vin has yet to say a word, choosing to hug you instead. His arm is tied around your waist and his voice sounds muffled as he speaks. Shara, let me hold you just for a bit. Alright. Your lover's unusual behavior has left you unable to do anything except comfort him with a hug. Time passes in silence, minute by minute. The only sound in the room is each other's breathing. Sometimes later, Vin finally lets go of you, his expression much calmer than before. Vin, are you okay? Yes, I am fine now. Vin's voice returns to his unusual tenderness, as if nothing happened at the office. Are you sure you don't need to put up a strong front before me? Yes, for me, you are the best girl. Vin, can you tell me what happened at the office? A faint smile appears on Vin's face, and you hurry to change the subject. Vin falls silent for a while after hearing your question, as if thinking about how to answer. As you can imagine, the Duchess of Bavaria was talking to me about Marnie's health. When Marnie was 9 years old, abnormalities began to appear in her kidneys. After some testing, Marnie was diagnosed with autosomal recessive polycystic kidney disease. Autosomal recessive polycystic kidney disease, the same disease that Professor Austin is researching. Yes. There are currently no effective drugs or surgical treatments for this disease. Once infected, children have a high chance of dying within 4 years, and most other patients remain in treatment for their entire lives. Marnie has been on conservative treatment since she got sick. According to the Duchess, Marnie has been doing well recently. She can even walk around by herself. But overall, her kidneys are in bad shape. You remember Vince's connection with Aston, then recalls during the news report. You can ascertain why the Duchess visited Vin. So the Duchess came to you because of Aston? I saw in a Stylus news report that Professor Aston just signed a 5-year contract with the Stylus Research Institution. Yes, but I only heard about the news from the Duchess. The big news only broke a few hours ago. Before then, it must have been kept under wraps. It seems that by some means, she knew that Aston would be employed by Stylus Research Institution. She also mentioned that Aston developed a new treatment for polycystic kidney disease. Moving forward, he is going to work with Stylus Research Institution and Stylus Public Hospital and start a series of clinical trials. So she was hoping to get a place in the clinical trials through me. The Duchess told me she went to see Aston before she came to see me. Unfortunately, she was unable to get a meeting with Aston. She had no choice but to ask me for help. You're connected to Professor Aston and a member of the Hesbrand family. Unable to meet with Aston, it's natural that she would seek your help. Vin nods in agreement. From what you said about her, it seems you have a good impression of her. So why were you so firm in your rejection? Vin sighed helplessly upon hearing your question. It is not like I do not want to help them, but I have to take responsibility for my actions. First and foremost, I cannot confirm the accuracy of the Duchess' information. If I had agreed only to find out later that there are no clinical trials, it would have ended poorly. Moreover, even if what she said was true, there is no guarantee that I could get Marnie a spot. It would be too traumatic for the Duchess and Marnie if I agreed to help but failed to secure a spot. Under these circumstances, I would rather not risk their expectations. You make a valid point, but it's a rough decision. Now that Vin rejected the Duchess, there is not much room for maneuvering. Vin stands in front of you, having regained his calm and gentle composure. And yet, for some reason, your mind flashes back to the moment when the confrontation between Vin and the Duchess was at its peak. Vin, no, Lord Verham, you have stayed out of harm's way until now only because you have been lucky. Of course, you can stand idly by, but if something happened to you one day, how can you be sure you will not be in the same predicament? You might even be worse off because no one wants to help you. Think of your family. Do you really think you are any different from them? Why would the Duchess say that? Has there been a misunderstanding? Something on your mind? Oh, I'm fine. The warm breath by your ears makes you realize you have been staring at Vin for a while. You draw on the back of Vin's hand with your finger, not knowing where to begin. Seeing your reaction, Vin takes your hand into his palm and caresses it slowly. He seems to have read your mind and knows exactly what you're thinking. Are you concerned about what the Duchess said to me? How did you know? How could I not? Vin pauses for a moment with a wry smile on his lips. Undoubtedly, what the Duchess said was not wrong. I have been very lucky when it comes to my health. But perhaps I should go for a checkup just in case. But that is a discussion for another time. What are your thoughts on the Duchess and Marnie? Do you agree with her that I acted coldly? Vinton suddenly changes as he asks your opinion with a slight sadness in his voice. You squeeze his hand eagerly and shake your head. How could I? You have your own code, and you must have your reasons for turning them down. You pauses for a moment as you remember Marnie's little face. I'm just worried about Marnie. Vin frowns slightly, deep in thought. Just when you think the dust has settled, Vin's phone vibrates one more. He takes the call, a helpless expression returning to his face. What's wrong? What happened? The psychology center called. They said the Duchess is there again and asked to talk to me. And she said she will visit the center every day until I see her. Well, if she visits the psychology center every day, it might affect the other patients. Yes, it seems that I have to see her again. I'll go with you. Alright. Vin's office. The Duchess is already waiting in Vin's office. Her red eyes and tight lips reflect her anxious state of mind. Upon seeing her, Vin frowns slightly. Duchess, I believe I have already made myself clear. Faced with Vin's repeated refusals, the Duchess takes a deep breath and apologizes to him. My behavior just now was inappropriate and impolite. Please forgive me. But I hope you can understand my feelings as a mother. Vin seems to be perplexed by the Duchess' apology. He was probably expecting more rude remarks from her. I understand you did not mean to say what you said. Duchess, what did you want to talk to me about this time? The Duchess' apology seems to soften Vin soon. The Duchess stands up, then shakes her head lightly. Thinking back to our last interaction, I really had no right and no reason to force you to do anything for me. I came to tell you the story of what happened after I married the Duke. When I am done, I will accept whatever you may think. Alright. Vince nods and agrees to the Duchess' request. The Duchess looks to the side, her eyes drifting off into the distance. It all started before Marnie was born. My marriage to the Duke of Bavaria should have been the happiest moment of my life. But our family doctor, after examining the Duke and me, told us the Duke and I have genetic defects that would increase the risk that our offspring would suffer from disability or disease. Therefore, the family doctor advised us to be cautious when considering having children. The Duchess' voice begins to crack. her voice trembling softly. But we really wanted a child of our own. Marnie had always been healthy since birth. The Duke and I believed it to be a blessing from the God of Fortune. We lived happily for 9 years until Marnie suddenly fell ill. The Duchess struggles to suppress her tears as she continues. From that day on, not a day goes by when I do not feel regret. Not a day goes by when I do not hate myself. The first thing I do when I wake up is recall what the doctor said. But what can I do? Because I wanted to have a family, wanted to have children of my own. I gave birth to Marnie against all odds. She is already 11 years old, and all I have brought her is endless pain and treatments. I am too selfish and unfit to be Marnie's mother. Duchess. The Duchess clutches at her clothes, unable to hide her grief. Everything is my fault. If I did not insist on having Marnie, she would not have gotten sick or suffered so much. She would not be shunned by other family members or mocked behind her back. The Duke grew weary of the endless treatments and care. He gave up and left. Everything is my fault. At this point, the Duchess had grown remarkably calm, as if she is telling someone else's story. It's as if her soul has long been drained from her body, leaving only an empty shell. After Vin hears her story, he clenches his hand subconsciously. You're unsure of whether it's due to how Marnie was treated by her family or the hatred that the Duchess felt towards herself. His eyes are full of emotions that you can't discern, let alone fathom. The Duchess forces the corners of her lips into a smile. Despair is the greatest sorrow. Vin, Lord Wilhelm, I told you my story. We remained silent for a long time. At last, he sighs with a heavy expression on his face. Duchess, I will think about it. In the meantime, would you like to rest in the lounge? Do you really mean that? Yes, but I need some time. A faint light glimmers in the Duchess' eyes at the possibility that things might change. Yes, of course, I will wait for you. Thank you for giving it more consideration. No need to thank me. I still need to think it over. Vin's office. The office becomes quiet after a nurse takes the Duchess to the lounge. Vin still has a solemn expression on his face, almost as if he has other important things on his mind. Is Vin worried about something other than the Duchess? Rather than speculate, wouldn't it be better if I just asked him directly? With this in mind, you pull on Vin's hand. Vin, are you worried about something else? No. Hearing your question, Vin's lip curls up into a smile, but you can tell it's forced. It's clear he doesn't wish to dwell on the subject. It seems he doesn't want to talk to me about this now. Maybe later then? Perhaps we can talk about something else. Vin, you mentioned that you need to think things over. Does that mean you plan on helping the Duchess and Marnie? You changed the topic to Marnie, and Vin's expression changed. My rationale has changed, but I still have concerns. I should confirm whether Aston clinical trials are happening. As for the rest, well, we can discuss it later. Sure. Vince works at his computer for a while, then stares at the screen as he lets out a long sigh. I just contacted some doctors and professor, although they did not confirm it explicitly, it was clear from their tone. Aston does plan on starting a series of clinical trials on polycystic kidney disease. It's not fake news. That's great. Even though the clinical trials are happening, there are two other things that worry me. What is it? First of all, with the current medical advancement, recessive polycystic kidney disease is incurable. And clinical trials, while capable of developing breakthrough treatments, the essential require patients to volunteer as test subjects for new treatments. Compared to Marnie's current conservative treatment, the risks are astronomical. If anything goes wrong, Marnie's condition might worsen or might even lead to... Vin doesn't finish his sentence, but you know exactly what he wanted to say. Death. At that point, putting aside the Duchess' reaction, even I... Perhaps I cannot handle that outcome. He clearly trying to help people, but doing so might push them into the abyss. Vin, my apologies. I have seen so many patients that I always assume the worst case scenario. Did I frighten you with what I said just now? Vin takes your hand into his palm and rubs it gently. The subject of death rarely comes up between you and Vin, and his first reaction is concern over how you feel. His tenderness at moments like this breaks your heart. How would I be frightened after all we've been through together? But Marnie's illness... You pause for a moment and squeeze Vin's hand. According to you, the greater the risk, the greater the benefit. Maybe the situation might turn out in the complete opposite way? Maybe we should be optimistic. Marnie might get her illness under control because she's in a clinical trial. You'll be doing a great thing by helping them out now. You try to comfort Vin, who responds by nodding his head lightly. Yes, that is possible. That is a possibility. Good and bad are two sides of the same coin. Anything can happen. What's your other cause for a concern? It has to do with Aston. Huh? Seeing your astonished look, Vin reaches out to touch your hair. Most people do not know that Aston is the same as me, of noble descent. But he refuses to acknowledge that identity. His father was born with an unmentionable disease regarded by his family as ominous and shameful. It led to more than a decade of abuse for Aston that did not stop until his father passed away. Aston once told me he detested the nobles and could never reconcile with those that thought highly of themselves. It was because of this that he devoted himself to medicine and refused to have any more contact with nobility. Vin mentioned that he had something in common with Aston, so it was their similar attitude towards noble. Is that why Professor Aston declined to meet the Duchess? Yes, any nobles, whether from the Habsburg or Bavaria family, will be rejected. So I am concerned that it would not matter even if I am the one asking Aston. I see, but the Duchess isn't like other nobles. For a moment, you and Vin are both silent, faced with an unsolvable problem. In a trance, you can't help but recall what Marnie said to you on the CBD street. Miss, do you know a way for me to disappear? If I could just disappear, Mommy would be happier. Marnie's eyes full of innocence and kindness. Even though she was sick, all she thought was about her mother. How could someone so adorable say she wants to disappear? You sit up straight and look into Vin's golden eyes. Vin, there is one thing I didn't get the chance to tell you. What is it? Today when I was walking with Marnie, she told me she didn't want any more treatments. And she even wanted to disappear so as not to burden the Duchess. Marnie. The more you talk about Marnie's reaction, the more you feel upset and your eyes wells up with tears. Vin also frowns, a trace of sadness in his eyes. Vin, how did things end up like this? The Duchess regrets giving birth to Marnie, and Marnie feels that she's a burden to the Duchess. They both want what's best for each other. It's heartbreaking. You can't help but snuggle into Vin's embrace, afraid to recall what the Duchess said. Vin hugs you even tighter and pats you back gently. I do not believe anyone can forgive themselves if they harm their loved one for selfish reason. Vin stops, then touches your ear lightly with his fingertips. The Duchess has been with Marnie through all of her treatments. She must know the risk of clinical trials better than I do. But under such circumstances, she still insists on getting a place in the clinical trials. I do not understand why. The Duchess hasn't given up on Marnie. If there is a small chance that something might work, she'll cross desperately at it. Perhaps to her, the clinical trial is her last hope. She has not given up, her last hope. Vin mumbles those words to himself, his eyes moving ever so slightly. Then he pulls you into a strong embrace, his warm breath wafting in your ear. Thank you, Shiraira. I know what I should do now. After Vin made his decision, the two of you had to meet with the Duchess together. When the Duchess sees you coming, she springs to her feet, looking quite nervous. Duchess? Yes? I will talk to Aston about the clinical trials for you. But I hope you can understand that I cannot guarantee success in this matter. Of course, thank you both. Hearing Vin's change of heart, the Duchess takes his hand excitedly. She expresses her gratitude over and over as if he has shown her a life receiver. Vin, thank you so much. Shara and I will make arrangements to meet with Aston. Please go back and take care of Marnie. If there is any progress, I will contact you immediately. Yes, I will await your good news. After sending the Duchess off, Vin turns to look at you. Let us head back to the office and decide our next step. Alright. Vin's office. Back in the office, you and Vin decide what to do about Professor Aston. Vin, you mentioned that Aston has a problem with nobles. What should we do? The identity of the Duchess and Marnie. You can't help but feel the onset of a small headache when you think of Professor Aston's attitude. If I ask Aston outright for help on this matter, he will undoubtedly refuse. We need to take a more tactful approach, at least without showing our true intentions until we meet him. Is there a way that both natural and convenient? After a few seconds of silence, Vin smiles at you. I have an idea. What is it? Now that news of Aston has been made public, I would naturally know that he is in Stelis. If I contact him about doing comprehensive genetic testing, I do not think Aston will decline. So when the time comes to meet, I will explain our real intentions. You heard that an old friend is in Stelis and want him to help arrange genetic testing. That sounds a great idea. Vin nods his head in satisfaction when he sees that you agree with him. And at this point, a strange feeling arises in your heart. Something seems to be hidden in Vin's perfect scheme. We will proceed as planned. Yeah, okay. Hopefully, things will work out with the Duchess. You secretly pray from the bottom of your heart, but notice Vin staring off into space. You wonder what's on his mind. You wave your hand in front of Vin's face. Vin? Sorry, I got distracted. What are you thinking? Me? I just remembered something from my childhood. Your childhood? Vin's eyelashes quiver and his thin lips press gently together before opening once more. His expression is overcome with fatigue and listlessness. As I told you before, I remember that the Duchess of Bavaria was a very gentle person. At that time, I also thought that if the Duchess had any children, they would be as gentle and beautiful as her. After today's event, I think life is comical and cruel. Vin seems to remember something else as he smiles again. But there was no happiness in the smile, only endless self-mockery and frustration. I should have known. The disparity between human hearts is like deep chasm. But when faced with the truth, I still find it ironic. Inexplicable emotions are brewing in Vin's mesmerizing golden eyes. You wrap your arms gently around Vin's waist, your cheeks pressed against his chest. Vin, you look exhausted. I'm worried about you. You're right, life can be cruel, misfortunes may happen at any time. The people you meet today might be in a quite different situation next time. But it's enough for me that the person I love is beside me. From the day we fell in love, we'll continue to accompany each other and be in each other's lives. That's good enough, right? At the end of your speech, you feel Vin's graceful hand on your back. His fingers move down your shoulder blades and rest on your waist. You feel something tickling your ears. It's his lips brushing against your hair. Yes, you are right. It is good enough. Let me hold you for a while longer.
Vince's office. 3 days later, you arrive at the psychology center to meet up with Vin. Entering his office, you see Vin busy at his desk. However, he stops upon seeing you. Shira, you are here. Yeah, didn't we agree to meet up today? What are you up to? Are you working on the plan for Professor Aston? Yes, I am putting together some information. I have already scheduled an appointment with Aston so we can head there later. I can't believe how fast things have progressed. I thought it would have taken a few days. That's great news. So far, so good. I hope that will remain the case when we see him. I'm sure it will be fine. Oh, since we're going to be asking Professor Aston for help, why don't we bring him a gift? Upon hearing your suggestion, Vin's eyes light up and the corners of his mouth curl up slightly. My thoughts exactly. I was just wondering if I should bring a gift for Aston. Great minds think alike. Yes, but I have not put all the information together yet. I still need some time. Vin tilts his head slightly. It almost seems like he's worried about finding the time to buy a gift. Seeing his hesitation, an idea pops into your head. Why don't we split up? While you're putting together the information, I'll go shopping, and then we can meet up later. Vin nods. Good idea. I remember Aston enjoys sweet pastries. Okay, send me everything that he might like, and I'll head out now. Alright. When you are done shopping, we can meet right in front of the Stylist Research Institution. Yeah. Following Vin's instructions, you arrive at a bakery. You stand in line to purchase the pastries that Vin mentioned in a message. Looking at the fragrant pastries wrapped beautifully in white paper, you feel a little emotional. Vin and Professor Aston must know each other really well. I wonder if anything interesting happened between them. Maybe I can ask Professor Aston what Vin was like back in college. If they were that close, then it's no wonder the Duchess turned to Vin for help. But are these pastries really that good? The line to buy them was so long. Maybe I'll try some next time. Stylist Research Institution corridor. After meeting with Vin at the entrance of the Stylist Research Institution, you and Vin head inside together. Upon reaching the 5th floor, the two of you are greeted warmly by a blond man with blue eyes. Looks like this is the famous Professor Aston. Hey, old friend, long time no see. I was thinking I'd get in touch with you after the appointment ceremony, but you ended up calling me first. What a coincidence. Aston, long time no see. Sorry to have to trouble you with this. It's not trouble at all. You don't need to be so polite with me. Honestly, you even brought me a gift. You're making me feel bad. As he speaks, Professor Aston puts his hand familiarly on Vin's shoulder. Helpless, Vin pulls Aston's arm down, then looks at you. Professor Aston's eyes light up when he notices your presence. Vin, this is... No, wait. Don't say anything yet. Let me guess. This young lady standing in with you is a perfect match for you. Now I know why you came to me for genetic testing. She must be your fiancée. Vin, am I right? This is Sherera, my girlfriend. Hello, Professor Aston. Hello, Miss Sherera. Chess Aston is fine. You're Vin's girlfriend. It would be strange if you called me Professor Aston. After exchanging pleasantries, Professor Aston looks at Vin again. Girlfriend is just one step away from fiancé, Vin. You have my blessing. Aston. Professor Aston is too familiar with Vin. My bad, I said too much. It's been a while since we saw each other, so I'm a little excited. Please forgive my rudeness. Vin and Professor Aston have such contrasting personalities. How did they end up becoming friends? After a brief chat, Vin and Professor Aston start talking about genetic testing. At this point, Professor Aston finally shows a serious expression. He takes out 2 forms and hands them to Vin. Here, follow this form, get it filled, and give it to me when all the items are completed. A beautiful lady is accompanying you, so I won't go with you. He winks at Vin with a thin smile on his lips. Alright. Vin is really gonna get tested? I thought it was just a cover. Well, I need to get some work done. Come find me when the tests are done. Then Professor Aston walks down the corridor out of sight. Vin takes your right hand, glances at the form, and then at you. Come on, I need to get my blood drawn. Yeah, okay. You accompany Vin as he gets his blood drawn and provide his saliva as well as other samples that needed to be collected. Throughout the entire process, Vin remains extremely calm and cooperates with the medical personnel. Looking at Vin's calm appearance, you can't help but think back to what he said. But perhaps I should go for a checkup, just in case. Did Vin plan to get a checkup from the start? Before you can give it some more thought, Vin shakes your hand lightly and shows you the completed form. All done. Let's go find Aston. Yeah, sure. Aston's office. Arriving at Aston's office, you notice the window shades are shut tight, preventing any light from coming in. Professor Aston smiles at you in embarrassment. Sorry, I prefer my office to be a bit darker. No worries, we don't mind. Aston, this is my form. Aston accepts Vin's form and nods. Alright, I'll keep an eye on your test and I'll let you know as soon as I get the results. Alright. By the way, if you have some free time, I have something I would like to discuss with you. Hearing Vin's request, Professor Aston pauses, then looks at his screen. I don't have any important meetings right now, so I have some free time. Let's talk elsewhere. My office is too dark and gloomy. Sure. Cafe. The three of you go to a nearby cafe and each order a drink. The cafe is filled with a sweet fragrance while soft music is playing in the background. Professor Aston takes a sip from his cup and smiles. The coffee here is great. I should try another flavor next time. Well, Vin, what can I do for you? Did you listen to me and change your mind about expediting your engagement? It is not that. What else could it be? He takes another sip of coffee, puzzled. How is your recent work on polycystic kidney disease? Instead of asking Professor Aston directly about the clinical trials, Vin eases into the topic. Professor Aston taps his coffee cup lightly with his spoon. Not bad. I'm confident that the breakthrough is just on the horizon. Why the sudden interest in my job? Could it be that you want to help with my research? Vin frowned slightly at Professor Aston's eager eyes. I want to talk to you about your clinical trials for polycystic kidney disease. Professor Aston is startled by Vin's response and then frowns. I heard you came to Stellis in preparation for a series of clinical trials with Stellis Research Institute and Stellis Public Hospital. Perhaps we can talk about that. Vin, you're very well informed. But the clinical trials are confidential. I can't say too much, so let's talk about something else. Professor Aston is still frowning with no intention of talking about the clinical trials. He looks at Vin as if waiting for him to change the subject. I have a patient with hereditary polycystic kidney disease and she's not doing so well, so... Hearing Vin still talking about the clinical trial, Professor Aston doesn't answer, his expression looking sullen. For a moment, the atmosphere becomes a little tense. Sometimes later, Vin lets out a sigh before speaking again. Aston, her condition is critical, which is why. Enough! The expression on Professor Aston's face has gone sour and he's furious. Even so, he tries to hold back the anger in his voice. Vin, as friends, I don't want a senseless dispute to interfere with our friendship. I understand, Aston, but I must... Faced with Vin's insistence, Professor Aston can no longer hold back his temper. Before Vin can finish, Professor Aston interrupts him. I don't know exactly where you got your information, but there's nothing for us to talk about. It is a shame. I never imagined that your real purpose for visiting me today was this. Professor Aston pauses for a moment with a look of realization. Ah, now I remember. A woman who came to me weeks ago was also from the Hesperin family. Don't tell me. Vin, are you here on her behalf? Yes, but... Enough. Since you've admitted it, there's really nothing more to talk about. Vin, you know me, yet you still choose to test me in this manner. Do you even consider me a friend? Professor Aston slams the coffee cup onto the table and leaves the cafe. You both apologize to the shop owner and chase after Aston, but he's nowhere to be found. Vin, Professor Aston is gone. What should we do? He could not have gone far. Let us ask around and see if anyone has seen him. Okay. Miss, did a blonde guy pass by here? A foreigner? You mean a man with blonde hair and turquoise eyes? Yeah, that's him. Can you tell me where he went? Is he a friend of yours? He was so handsome that I noticed him immediately. I could only get a glimpse of him because he was walking so fast. He was just here, so he couldn't have gone far. Thank you for telling us. Thank you. Sure, it's nothing. Excuse me, did a man with blue eyes and blonde hair pass by here? A man with blue eyes and blonde hair? Yes, we are looking for him. Let me think. I don't recall seeing anyone like that around here. Why don't you look elsewhere? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Excuse me, did a blonde guy pass by here? A blonde guy? Many blonde guys passed through here just now. Who are you looking for? He was wearing a light colored suit, a jacket, and carrying a briefcase. Yeah, he was about 180 centimeter. I see. Oh, is that the person you're looking for? The lady points to the exit on the other side of Central Plaza where you spot Professor Aston passing by. Yeah, thank you.
Central Plaza. You and V run over quickly and finally catch up to Professor Aston, who is still trying to storm off. The two of you block Aston's path and meet his gaze. Vin, I don't want to fight with you, but if you still wish to be my friend, please don't ask me about that again. As soon as Professor Aston sees that, Vin's expression becomes complex. He says nothing and stares at Professor Aston. Professor Aston lets out a small sigh, his tone softening quite a bit. Perhaps because he realized that what he said will hurt their friendship. I don't wish for a noble to come between us. Vin, our friendship is worth more than that, isn't it? I am well aware, but because of that... Aston, are you not curious as to why I brought this up? You should know that I, of all people, would rarely ask such a thing. Then why? Professor Aston looks bewildered. Fine, tell me why you are doing this then. Because in my eyes, she is more like a real mother than a noble. A real mother? Yes, Professor Aston, the Duchess is different from other nobles. Different? How? Aston, I remember you once said that you regretted not taking better care of your father when you were young. Vin looks at Aston and sees every word with profound meaning. You even wanted to give up your studies to take care of him. However, your mother stopped you and your father did not allow you to return home. The entire time you were studying away from home, you were constantly worried about your father's illness, about his health. The Duchess of Bavaria is the same as you during that time. Professor Aston's eyes widened. It seems Vince's words made him recall a distant memory. You know more than I do about polycystic kidney disease and its causes. Ever since Marnie was diagnosed, the Duchess has blamed herself. If you are interested in how she feels, you can ask her yourself. But I can assure you, she has gone through the same pain as you. And what she wants now is exactly what you wanted then. She just wants a lifeline. A lifeline. Aston frowns, showing signs of wavering on his face. Moreover, Marnie, the Duchess' daughter, also said, "What is it?" She said she did not want to be in the clinical trials and that if only she could disappear. This 11-year-old girl does not want to see her mother burdened by her illness, only living for her. By now, Professor Aston has a look of disbelief on his face. When Vin is done explaining himself, there is a mixture of complicated emotions in Professor Aston's eyes. After a while, Professor Aston speaks slowly. I'm not a heartless person. Let me think it over. Seeing him waver, Vin sweetens the deal by offering something extra. Aston, I know how difficult this decision must be for you. If you are willing to think it over, I can help you with something else in exchange. I know you have been studying the psychological effects of patients in treating polycystic kidney disease. And you have always wondered why people who cooperate with conservative treatment fail to get better, some even succumbing to their depression. I can offer my expertise in helping with your research. You can take credit for any results. You and Professor Aston stare at Vin with wide eyes. Vin pauses for a brief moment, then his tone becomes calm and serious. Everything I have said is my personal opinion, and the final decision lies with you. I will respect you no matter what choice you make, and we will remain friends. Vin is willing to sacrifice so much for the Duchess and Marnie. Vin, surely you must be joking. Why would you do so much for the Duchess of Bavaria and her daughter? They are... At this moment, I prefer to think of them as simply mother and daughter. Aston, you have known me for so long, and you are well aware of who I am. I am earnest in everything I do. Aston falls silent upon hearing Vin's response. After a long time, he lets out a small sigh as his furrowed eyebrows begin to relax. Vin, I would like to speak to you alone. Central Plaza. Professor Aston walks to the side after asking to speak to Vin alone. Vin pats you on the shoulder and smiles gently at you before heading over to Aston. I am going to speak with Aston. I will be back at the psychology center later. Head back first and inform the Duchess to bring Marnie here. Okay, but I have just one question. Yes, what is it? Why did you bring up that last condition? It's quite a big sacrifice. You understand the importance of receiving credit for research, so to hand over all the credit... Vin smiles slightly after hearing of your confusion and gently brushes your hair with his hand. This is my way of showing Aston my sincerity and my acknowledgement of the Duchess. sincerity, and acknowledgement. Yes, to me, not only is this a special case, it is also an omen. Only by doing this will I feel that I have done more than just help them secure a spot in the clinical trials. I can also build a deeper working relationship with Aston and help even more people. Fame and rewards are not as important in comparison. Vin, you. Just as you start to feel moved by Vin's gesture, you catch a glimpse of the true ploy in his eyes. The edge of his mouth curls into a smile. Besides, I know Aston very well. He would never allow me to give him all the credit. So you had it planned out from the very start. Using the proper remedies, whether it be with Aston just now or the events in the past. This is part of my job. Okay, I should go and speak with Aston now. You should go back first. Alright, I'll let the Duchess know. You go right ahead. Vin nods and turns to walk away. As you watch him as he walks away, you feel a sense of realization, a feeling that you haven't felt for a very long time. You haven't seen Vin smile that way ever since being involved in the incident with the Duchess. Is his heart finally at ease beneath that gentle smile? Never mind, it's not the time to be thinking about stuff like this. I should notify the Duchess first. You take out your phone and tap away at the keyboard. Done. There's still some time before Vin and the Duchess return to the psychology center. What should I do in the meantime? I got it. I should go and get Marnie a gift. After arriving at the mall, the countless selection of gifts makes your head spin. There are way too many things here. I really don't know what to get. After comparing countless items, you finally decide to give Marnie a puzzle set. This puzzle is based on the famous piece Little Thieves. The puzzle features cute cartoon version of the characters. The change adds more fun to the artwork's depiction of the bond between mother and child. The Duchess must also help Marnie like that when she was little. It would be much more meaningful if Marnie and the Duchess could finish this puzzle together. I think they'll like this present. You return to the psychology center as your mind wonders about the infinite possibilities. You, Vin, and Professor Eisen are still not at the psychology center by the time you return. However, Marnie and the Duchess are already waiting in the reception area. Marnie looks to have recovered from the fainting episode and looks fine. The Duchess quickly approaches you when she sees you. Miss Herrera, how did it go? Professor Eisen is already speaking to Vin. They'll be back soon. I hope nothing goes wrong. You can see a glimpse of worry in the Duchess' eyes as she wasn't able to get a definitive answer from you. There's no need to worry, Vin will definitely take care of it. You are right, I believe in him as well. Duchess, I brought Marnie a present. I hope she likes it. A present? Marnie, who is sitting off to the side, tugs on the Duchess' sleeve as she hears the word present. She has a gift for me? Mommy, can I take it? Of course, but you will have to say thank you first. Yay, thank you, miss. Marnie turns toward you and looks at you with a wide grin. You pat Marnie on the head and take out the puzzle. I hope that you and Marnie both like it. Vin and Professor Aston return moments after. Seeing their arrival, the Duchess becomes excited and quickly walks to the door to welcome them. Vin, this is the Duchess of Bavaria. Professor Aston nods and the Duchess greets the professor formally. Hello, Professor Aston. I apologize if I have offended you previously. It's quite alright. I understand. Vin has told me about your daughter's situation. I hope to talk about it more with you in private. The Duchess stutters as tears fill her eyes. She looks towards Vin and he gently nods at her. Duchess, the opportunity has shown itself. As for how it will go, well, that is up to you now. You can trust Marnie and Shiraras in my hands for the time being. Thank you, Vin. Thank you, Professor Aston. I am truly... The Duchess clutches onto her back and tries to get her emotions under control. Vin calls over a nurse from the front desk and directs her to lead Professor Aston and the Duchess to a meeting room. You sense off to the side while holding Marnie's hand. Vin then walks next to you. After the Duchess and Professor Aston leave, Vin picks up Marnie's other hand. Shirara, we have some time on our hands to spend with Marnie. Yay! Wilhelm and Miss Shirara are going to play with me. Yeah! Vin's office. You and Vin play with Marnie in the office. Marnie has turned the sandbox originally used for psychological treatments into a toy to build a sandcastle with. Marnie fiddles with the decorations in the sandbox and begins to build her wall. We will put this little house here, and then another tree over here, and then... You let out a sigh of relief as you watch Marnie play with the sandbox. Finally, some hope in the matter. Vin doesn't speak. Instead, he just smiles and looks at you. What is it? Is there something on my face? No. I know you have been worried about Marnie. Seeing you relax now that it has been taken care of puts me at ease too. Vin. So he's been worried about my mood this whole time. You reach out your hand, hooking your pinky with Vin's and smiling back. Just as you and Vin are enjoying the moment, the sound of rustling through the sandbox disappears. The two of you look over at Marnie to find her poking at the sand and looking a little down. You and Vin quickly walk over and lean down to look at her. Marnie, what's wrong? Are you feeling uncomfortable? Marnie shakes her head and doesn't speak. Is it because your castle is not going according to plan? Marnie fidgets with her hands as she hears Vin mention the castle. No, I have already finished building the castle. It is just that I wanted to put two starfish toys in front of the castle. They were supposed to be Mommy and me. But I cannot find the little starfish. It just suddenly disappeared. Seeing the big starfish all alone by itself makes me sad. You and Vin look at one another. The two of you are reminded of what Marnie said before. Marnie once said that she wished she could suddenly disappear so she wouldn't be a burden to the Duchess anymore. Vin glances over at Marnie and gently takes her hand. Marnie, do you remember what you said to Miss Shiraira before? Did you say to Miss Shiraira that you wanted to suddenly disappear like the little starfish? Yes. Marnie bites her lips and nods. Can you tell me why you said that? If you tell me, I will find the little starfish for you and help it return to the big starfish's side. Marnie doesn't speak and tilts her head as she thinks about what Vince said. She tugs on Vince's hand after a while. If I tell you, you have to find the little starfish for me, okay? Of course. I said that because I really like Mommy. Marnie's voice becomes a little muffled. I never felt sad about being sick, but I am worried about Mommy. Mommy is pretty and young, but she always cries because of me. That is why I think it might be better if I just disappeared. If I am gone, Mommy might have a new baby. The new baby will definitely be healthier than me. And if that happens, Mommy would not need to run around all the time because of me, and she would not cry all the time anymore. Mommy would definitely be happier that way. Marnie speaks with an innocent tone. Everything she sees is genuine, and she truly believes it. Oh, one more thing. What is it? Daddy was still around when I first got sick. I secretly heard Mommy and Daddy cry in their room before. They said they should not have decided to have me in the first place. Mommy and Daddy said that if they did not have me, then I would not be sick. They were so sad. It made me sad too. But I have never thought it was Mommy and Daddy's fault that I am sick. Being Mommy and Daddy's daughter makes me happy. Now that Daddy is not around anymore, I started to think about what I could do to make Mommy a little happier. Tears begin to stream down your face and Vin gently caresses your back. However, a glimpse of a strange emotion can be seen in his eyes. The Duchess' voice breaks out from behind you before the two of you can comfort Barney. Barney! Oh, my sweet baby! The Duchess quickly approaches and holds Marnie in her arms while tears flow out of her eyes. The two of you turn around to see Professor Aston standing at the doorway with a frown on his face. They must have overheard what Barney said as they returned. The three of you look upon the mother and daughter that are holding on to one another for support. Marnie, my sweet Marnie. You are my baby. No matter what happens, you will always be my baby. Mommy does not want anything else. I am the luckiest and happiest person in the whole world as long as you are by my side. You are Mommy's hope. What would I do if you were to disappear? Stay with Mommy, okay? Marnie, will you stay with me? Okay, Mommy. I will always stay by your side. Marnie burst into tears after hearing the Duchess's words. She grabs tightly onto the Duchess with her small hands and doesn't let go. You discreetly wipes away your tears as you look at the two. The emotions created by powerful familiar bonds are truly moving. Now that the Duchess and Marnie have had that talk, they probably won't do anything else to hurt one another. The Duchess and Marnie calm back down after a while. The Duchess looks embarrassed as she grabs a tissue to wipe away her and Marnie's tears. You suddenly notice that Vin and Professor Aston are no longer around. Where did Vin and Professor Aston go? I should go and find them. The Duchess and Marnie will be fine here. After you walk out of Vin's office, you discover Vin and Professor Aston speaking just outside. Vin has a strange expression on his face, but he immediately puts up his normal smile as he sees you. Vin waves at you, signaling for you to go to him. What is it? Did something happen with the Duchess and Marnie again? No, I was worried after noticing that the two of you were gone. Nothing to worry about. Aston and I were just talking about Marnie. Professor Aston gently coughs a few times and looks at the two of you with a playful expression. I never knew what it meant when people said that lovers become oblivious to the rest of the world when they look at one another, but now I think I do. Seeing Vin change after meeting you, Miss Sharara, makes me very happy for him. Professor Aston. My apologies. I didn't mean to be cheeky. Professor Aston chuckles apologetically as he looks back and forth between the two of you. Vin tells me that you are very concerned about Marnie's illness. I suppose I'll fill you in on the details as well. Is it okay for you to do that? Don't worry, it doesn't involve any classified information. I've already spoken to the Duchess in detail before coming here. I find Marnie's condition to be very suitable for my project. After careful consideration, I have decided to give them the opportunity. Once the trials officially begin, I will arrange for Marnie's surgical treatments. Great! I will also be taking care of everything that follows. You will be updated if any progress is made. Okay, thank you so much, Professor Aston. I told you, just call me Aston. You don't need to address me so formally now that we know one another. You look at Professor Aston and then at Vin. Vin nods at you gently. Okay, thank you, Aston. That is much better. Professor Aston really has a strange personality. Oh, there's something that I need to tell the two of you. What is it? Is there another problem? I wouldn't call it a problem. It's more of a new observation that I've made. I realized that the Duchess truly is different from the other nobles that I really dislike. Oh, and how did you come to the realization? As you may already know, a patient's medical history is very important for a doctor's diagnosis. The Duchess has made detailed records of each of Marnie's treatments, and a record of Marnie's daily diet, sleep schedule, and her medicine intake. She even had it translated into multiple languages so doctors from different countries will have an easier time reading it. The Duchess has seriously put a lot of effort into taking care of Marnie. I was prejudiced against her before because of her status. Professor Aston sighed helplessly at the thought. It is not too late to change your perception. People can be so different. Sometimes it can be like heaven and earth. It is also possible for the things you believe with all your heart to be changed as well. There seems to be something hidden between the lines of what Vin just said, but he doesn't look towards you. Then let's leave it at that for today. Vin, please come with me. Alright. Huh? Isn't it over? Is there something else going on? You glance at Vin with a puzzled look on your face, but he remains silent. Your curiosity slowly grows into worry. What is it that they need to repeatedly make sure of? I still have some business with Aston. Go ahead and head home first. I will be back soon. Alright. Vin quickly leaves just as you are about to ask what's going on. His tone was as calm as ever, but he left in a hurry. The worry in your heart grows even stronger. Is there something that he's never told you about? His evasive behavior feels familiar. The events of the past flow through your mind. Vin acted this way during the incident with Jessie as well. He looked very strange after saving Jessie. And when I asked him about it, he seems to have held something back. It's even more obvious now with the Duchess. After the Duchess talked about Vin's family, it's like Vin turned into a completely different person. I wonder what he and Professor Aston are talking about right now. Vin, what's going on with you? Vin's living room. Time continues to pass and Vin still hasn't returned. Your patience waiting slowly turns into an ever-present plaguing worry. Why hasn't Vin come back yet? What would he and Professor Aston be talking about? Just as your mind starts to wander, the creep sound of the door opening puts an end to your thoughts. You look over at the door and see Vin with a folder in his hand and a heavy look on his face. You jump into his arms immediately. At this moment, only the warmth of his body can settle the uneasiness in your heart. Vin, what took you so long? Are you alright? Did something happen? You wrap your arms around Vin's waist and look him in the eyes as you quickly ask him the questions that have been on your mind. Seeing you like this, Vin relaxes his frown and lets out a soft sigh.
전 괜찮아요.
He returns to being his ordinary gentle self as he speaks, perhaps worrying that you may overly stress. He takes your hand and leads you to the sofa to sit down.
미안해요. 오래 기다렸죠. 저녁으로 뭐 먹을래요? 지금 레스토랑을 예약해둘게요.
Vin quickly changed the subject, but his hand is tightly clutching the folder. Having witnessed Vin's attempt to hide something from you, an unfamiliar feeling of panic rises up inside you. You somehow feel that if you don't get the answers you're looking for today, you may never have another chance. I'm not hungry. You, on the other hand. What's in the folder? Are there important documents? Vin's expression becomes complex as he hears you bring up the folder. He seems to be both worried and uneasy. It takes a while before he finally speaks.
제 유전자 검사 결과예요. 방금 에스턴이 따로 얘기하자고 한 게 바로 이것 때문이었어요. 그런데 열어볼 용기가 생기질 않네요. 열어보는 게 맞는 건지 모르겠다고 해야 할까요?
Vin's tone is hesitant and tight. His normal calm and collected self is nowhere to be seen. You still don't understand why he sees a simple genetic test as something so intimidating. Vin, it's just a test result. There's nothing to worry about.
전
Vin falters and doesn't continue to speak. He looks at you quietly with a forced smile on his face. Vin opens his mouth and closes it again. He is filled with hesitation. At this very moment, you can feel the invisible net between the two of you. He is trapped inside the net, and you are on the outside. Vin, what happened? Vin looks around, clearly flustered. In the midst of the silence, memories of daily events in the past and recent events regarding Vin's strange behavior flit through your mind.
윤노아 씨. 아니, 빌헬름 전하. 지금까지 아무 일도 없었던 것은 순전히 운이 좋으셨기 때문입니다. 그저 방관할 수도 있겠지요. 하지만 혹시 전하께 무슨 일이라도 생긴다면 제 상황이 되지 않으리란 보장은 없습니다. 오히려 더 나쁜 상황이 될지도 모르겠군요. 아무도 전하를 도우려 하지 않을 테니까요. 가족들을 생각해 보시죠. 전하, 본인이 그들과 다르다고 생각되나요? 제가 매니를 낳겠다고 고집 부리지 않았다면 매니도 아프지 않았을 거예요. 이렇게 고통받지 않아도 됐겠죠. 집안에서 외면받거나 뒤에서 빈정거리는 이들도 없었을 텐데.
현대의학 수준으로는 상염색체 열성 다낭성 신장 질환은 불치병이나 마찬가지예요. 임상시험이 획기적인 치료 수단이 될 수도 있지만 환자가 자원해서 새로운 치료법의 피실험체가 된다는 뜻이기도 하죠. 그로 인한 위험은 매니가 받고 있는 보존적 치료와 비교했을 때 큰 차이가 있어요. 치료 과정 중 잘못되기라도 한다면 매니의 병이 오히려 악화될 수도 있고 심지어는
He looks back at Jesse, who is sitting in a wheelchair, expressionless. The mysterious look in his eyes makes you anxious. What happened to Vin? He's been acting strange ever since he helped rescue Jesse.
아마 대다수가 송지원 씨처럼 생각할 거예요. 발레리나로서 두 발을 잃었으니까요. 스스로 폐인이라며 살아갈 필요가 없다고 했죠. 아주 부정적인 생각이지만 세상은 정말이지 잔혹해요. 약육강식은 무시할 수 없는 자연의 법칙이죠.
The fragments of memories piece together and you seem to be able to see what Vin has been trying to avoid. Seeing your lover becoming fragile and different from his normal self, your heart begins to ache and your eyes fill with tears. Vin, you've been acting strange ever since the Duchess of Bavaria came to you. You're concerned about something of the things she said about Marnie's illness and about what they've been gone through. I can even occasionally see a look of defeat on your face. It's just like how you dealt with Jesse's situation. You're making me really worried about you. Vin gently places his fingers on your lips before you can finish. You can see your reflection in his stunning golden eyes, which are filled with an apologetic look.
알고 있어요. 미안해요. 걱정하게 했네요.
Why is he apologizing to me even in a moment like this? You grab Vin's wrist and stand up. You look him straight in the eyes as he is still sitting down.
왜...
I don't want to hear your apologies. I just want to help you share the burden. We're lovers and we'll share every happy moments by each other's side, but we're also lifelong partners that should share every moment of agony together. We should be telling each other everything, shouldn't we? Vin, I don't want to be kept in the dark, even at the very end when it comes to something that has to do with you. I don't want to only find out about it at the very end either. Can't you not try to shoulder everything by yourself anymore? You have me here with you. Bitter tears rolls on the side of your cheeks and onto your lips. Vin grabs you and pulls you into his arms. He gently kisses you on the face and grabs a tissue to wipe off your tears.
정말 못 이기겠네요.
Vin gently sighed and his tone softens. He looks into the distance through the window.
이 일은 어릴 적 이야기로 거슬러 올라가요. 정말 어릴 적에 제 친척이 몸에 장애가 있다는 이유로 버림받는 걸 직접 목격했어요. 그리고 귀족이란 자들은 사람들을 내려다보며 명령하고 무슨 일이 벌어지든 지켜보기만 했죠. 그 사람들에게 있어서 장애는 선천적이든 후천적이든 신체적이든 심리적이든 모두 일종의 불완전함으로 보는 거죠. 그리고 그런 불완전한 사람은 존재 가치가 없는 쓰레기로 치부돼요. 그래서 전 그때부터 마음속에 불완전함에 대한 공포가 생겨났죠. 항상 두려웠어요. 언젠가는 저도 불완전한 사람이 되어 버림받게 될까봐.
Vin's eyes turn red as he grabs your hand and places it on his chest where his heart is. You can feel his warmth and heartbeat. You are now inside the net with him. He continues to look into your eyes. A ripple of emotions rises behind his shining golden eyes.
제가 그런 공포를 느낀다는 건 지금까지 가장 깊숙이 숨겨왔던 비밀이에요. 아직까지 이 파일을 감히 열지 못하고 있는 이유이기도 하죠. 제 친척은 매니와 사정이 달랐지만 이번에 바이엘은 공작 부인을 보니 부인이 뱉은 말들에 여전히 공포를 느꼈던 것 같아요. 언젠가 부인의 말처럼 되면 어쩌나, 그 사람들이 당했던 일들이 내게 벌어지면 어쩌나 하는 생각이 들었어요.
Vin, you can't help but move even closer to Vin, hoping to provide him with the support he needs.
그거 알아요? 전 이 비밀을 제가 죽을 때까지 평생 숨길 수 있을 줄 알았어요. 근데 당신이 그런 제 결심을 깨고 모두 털어놓게 만들었어요. 그 누구와도 사랑에 빠질 수 없을 거란 제 신념을 깨고 제 삶에 걸어 들어온 것처럼요. 그래서 이런 제 이야기에 실망했나요? 완벽해 보이는 겉모습 뒤로 평범한 사람들과 다를 바 없는 마음을 갖고 있잖아요. 공포, 두려움, 그리고 나약함. 전 어쩌면 당신이 상상하는 그런 윤노아가 아닐지도 몰라요.
Vin's tone is soft and weak, like a baby that was just born. He has exposed his deepest and most vulnerable secret to you and allowed you to do what with it as you wish. At this very moment, you finally understand something. You toss the folder in Vin's hand to the side and hug him with all your strength. You press your face against his chest and listen to the sound of his heartbeat. Thank you, Vin. Thank you for being willing to tell me about your true fears. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to know you better and to love you even more. If you're wondering if I'm disappointed, well, the answer is definitely no. You take Vin's hand and interlace your fingers with his. There are some things that I will be willing to repeat time and time again, no matter how many times I have to say them. No matter how you are or what you become, you will always be the same Vin in my heart. As long as I have you by my side, I'll be living the complete and happy life that I have been chasing after. Promise me that we'll always love each other and stay by each other's side. You gently tilt your head up, letting Vince see his own reflection in your eyes and hear the sincerity in your voice. Finally, the life behind those startling golden eyes returns. He gently swings your hand and smiles.
좋아요. 약속할게요.
The white curtains pick up the priest entering the room through the windows, imitating the sound of butterfly wings in the wind as it flutters in the air. Your lover holds your hand and gently kisses your pinky finger.
이제 보니 제 삶에 당신이 없어선 안 될 것 같아요.
Well, of course, I'm your girlfriend after all.
그럼요. 앞으로 우리가 어떤 모습으로 변해갈지 점점 기대되네요.
We will definitely get even closer and sweeter. Vin laughs with satisfaction after hearing your response. You look to the side at the folder that was tossed away. Vin follows your eyes and stares at the folder as well. The two of you look at one another and remain silent for a few seconds. Vin then reaches out to pick up the folder.
검사를 했으니 그래도 결과는 봐야겠죠.
Vin, you...
괜찮아요. 당신이 있으니 별로 무섭지 않아요.
Vin picks up your hand gently, signaling for you to open the brown paper folder with him. See, Vin, I told you there's nothing to worry about. You point toward the definitive test summary on the piece of paper and look at Vin with excitement in your face. However, you discover that he paid no attention to the numbers on the results. Instead, his gentle eyes are fixated on you.
그러게요.
Vin caresses the strands of hair on your shoulder and wraps his arms around you again.
지금 제가 무슨 생각을 하고 있는지 맞춰볼래요?
You're thinking about... There is a certain seductive quality in Vin's voice, making your heart race. He presses his face closer to yours. Your cheeks tingle as his silvery hair gently brushes by.
지금 어떻게 보답해야 할지 고민이에요.
The sunlight gently shines upon the world as warmth and moisture mingle in the air. The flowers in the garden have blossomed, and what comes is a warm, soft, and lingering kiss. Dwarf chin cactus. The dwarf chin cactus belongs to the family Cactaceae, a gymnocalcium succulent. It enjoys the sunlight and is resilient to dry environments. It's a plant that is very easy to cultivate. It has a spherical shape and is magnificent when its flowers bloom. Parrot tulip. The parrot tulip is one of the most precious strands of tulips. They are very different from ordinary tulips. The petals of the parrot tulips overlap with one another and have irregular curvature. When it blossoms, the shape and colors of each petal resemble the weaving colors of parrot feathers, hence the name. Autosomal recessive polycystic kidney disease. Autosomal recessive polycystic kidney disease is a very rare type of recessive hereditary disease that affects 1 in 20,000 carriers. Emerging symptoms in younger patients will primarily show in the kidneys, whereas emerging symptoms in the adolescent patients primarily show in the liver. This disease has a high chance to cause kidney failure and ultimately resulting in the patient's death. Little Thieves. Little Thieves is a romantic piece by the famous artist William Adolphe Bergoglio. The painting depicts a scene where a mother is holding her daughter up in the air. Bergoglio's delicate work perfectly portrays the natural beauty of a woman and the posture of a mother's love. The painting is elegant and romantic, and portrays the strong emotions and bond between mother and a child.